Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about specific personal study abroad questions that are all related to my experience and not just general things. In case you missed it, I did a more general study abroad video on Tiffany Ferg, mostly about affordability, budgeting, and all of the biggest challenges that may prevent someone from studying abroad. So please make sure you watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. And welcome to my vlog channel. In case you didn't know, this is my vlog channel. I post vlogs here. I try to do it twice a week, and make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification so that you don't miss any of my personal life. You wouldn't want to miss that. First of all, thank you all for the questions. I'm glad you guys are interested in hearing about study abroad because obviously while I'm here, I'm gonna talk about it forever. First question that I got a couple of variations of: how did I pick where to study abroad? What made me want to study abroad in France specifically? So for me, ever since I started to study French in high school, it was always obvious that I wanted to go to France to be able to come here and practice the language. There are a lot of other countries that I was interested in, possibly like New Zealand, Ireland, you know, places that I thought I would enjoy, but for my experience, the language aspect was a huge part of it, and I could have picked another francophone country, but I really wanted to experience French in France, to be completely surrounded by it, and also obviously being in, you know, this part of Western Europe, there's so much traveling around that I could do. So I just thought that France was an easy pick. Also for the program that I use, which is ISEP, International Student Exchange Program, there are tons and tons of school locations to choose from in France and in a ton of other countries. So it was nice to be able to have a lot of options. Next question, do I go to a French university school? And if I do I get a lot of homework? So yes, I am enrolled at Aix-Marseille University. So my program specifically, I think I'm gonna make an entire video like reviewing the program. It is a small school within the university that focuses on teaching French to international students. So everybody in my school at this university is international. French is not their native language, and it's all levels from absolute beginner to pretty advanced. I have about, what is it? I think I have close to 14 or 15 hours of class per week and not that much homework. So it's really nice. I have a lot of spare time. We technically get assigned homework, like small writing assignments pretty often, but I don't do them often. But no, long answer short, I don't have a lot of homework, but it totally depends on your program. Most people, though, I will say, when they study abroad, they obviously try to do something with the least amount of homework as possible. I mean, some people go to, you know, study very specific things and the academics are more important, but if the study abroad experience, if the most important part for you is the experience and traveling and not the academics, then you want to get, you know, the easiest classes as possible with the least amount of homework. Next up, lots of questions about language. Yay! My best friend asked, can you talk about acclimating to the language barriers? How is your French improving? How's taking all of your classes in French? Do you think you came in with enough knowledge of the language to acclimate? So I haven't really updated you guys on the language aspect of my classes, which is everything, pretty much since the beginning of the year. I did make a video about that, kind of my reaction to like the first week of classes, which was very stressful. Classes have been much easier. I was able to take less classes than they initially wanted me to. They wanted us to take like 20 hours, so I got to take a few hours less, and it works out to about 12 semester credits back home. That's the minimum for a full-time student, and I'm totally solid with that. But the French in France, when I first got here, I felt like I didn't know enough, and it was just getting used to speaking it all the time. Like little things like, you know, bumping into someone on the street saying pardon instead of sorry. And like when you're greeting people, getting used to saying bonjour, bonne journée, bonsoir, bonne soirée. Just tiny little things like that that you use all day long. And then of course, learning to order things in French or ask questions in French when I needed to, just in public. Those are usually the most stressful because I'm like, ugh. I mean, obviously like social interactions with strangers are different than like in class. But in class, yes, all of my classes are taught entirely in French. So that really has helped me just mentally be so much more immersed in the language. Unfortunately, I don't have to speak that often in class. I mean, obviously we have like discussions, but I actually just did my first big presentation in French that was like 10 minutes long and it was just me talking and, you know, a little Google slide presentation. But it actually went well. I was very nervous about it. I think I'm getting a lot better at reading French, like out loud. But still, like, just speaking French is obviously very slow for me because I have to like think of everything. But if I have something like written out, I can, you know, rehearse it and then say it, so I don't know. Has it been hard adapting to the language for in class? Do you still have to write extensively in the language, or is it designed for people who are still learning? So once again, I said my program is for people who are learning. Like, they totally understand that everyone there is not fluent because that's why you're in this exact program. In class, I can listen very well. I think my listening skills are better than my speaking skills, and I think my writing skills are the best of all, my reading and writing. But the thing is, throughout the program and even within like my classes, everybody has a different skill set. So some people may be really good at speaking but not as good at writing, and you know, so everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. But I wouldn't call the writing that we do extensive. My level, the whole school, is like upper intermediate, so it doesn't feel super advanced to me most of the time. I guess I'll read a little bit of French to you guys because I do have part of my project. I did an expose on tiny houses, which is really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna just read a little bit to you. Je vais vous parler des petites maisons. Tout d'abord, je vais vous montrer des photos. Ils sont très mignons. Après, je vais parler de minimalisme et l'écoute et l'efficacité de la vie minuscule. À la fin, j'espère que vous êtes intéressés à vivre un mode de vie plus petit. Une petite maison, qu'est-ce que c'est? Une petite maison est moins de 37 mètres carrés. And then I show some pictures and I go, voila, il y a beaucoup de types de petites maisons. So I talked about minimalism and the cost of a tiny house, and then also the efficiency, energy-wise, and you know, whatever. It was actually a pretty interesting presentation to be able to make. This is so irrelevant, but whatever. You're here to just hear me speak French, right? I know you guys are interested in hearing me speak French, but I don't really speak it very often out of class, like even with my friends, and I need to work on that, I know, but I just don't. I actually, surprise, might possibly end up double majoring and add a major in French, just because I want to be able to keep this in my mind, because right now, this is actually so irrelevant, but it is relevant. I'm just now getting very interested in French, and it took a while for it to like really sink in and simmer. Like, I've been studying it for years, but now I feel like I'm just starting to like grasp it. And so I don't want to lose that when I get home, because at this point I wanted to just get a French minor because I've taken so many French courses, like why not? But now when I get home and wherever I transfer to, I want to continue taking French classes so that I can keep, not only maintain my French, but actually improve it. And I feel like that's the only way. I need to be able to take more classes in it, and I need to maybe join a French club and continue interacting with people in French, because I don't want to lose this. You know, it's valuable and it's taken so much time to get to this point. So that's my surprise of the day. I might end up being a film and French major. Two really, really useful degrees. No, but I do think they're interesting. I mean, they're obviously interesting, but I think I can definitely do great things with the knowledge of both of those topics. But let's get back to this. Okay, next question. Reflecting, do you wish you would have been given the opportunity to do a homestay? So with ICEP, my program automatically placed us all in these dorms, which is pretty nice. It was very simple. We didn't have to worry about finding housing or anything like that. But I was interested in the idea of doing a homestay. I've heard a couple people's experiences and they can be, you know, all over the place. But yeah, I think that would have been a really cool opportunity, and I definitely would have used French a ton more, actually living with a French family who would expect me to speak French to them all the time. But you know, no regrets. Do you think you packed too light, or do you think you should have packed more? I actually am very happy with the amount that I packed. If anything, maybe brought like an extra duffel bag or something just so I could bring more stuff back. But I did bring one large checkable suitcase, which I think was good, and then my big backpack full of stuff, and I think that was good. You definitely don't want to overpack, so I wouldn't recommend bringing more than one suitcase, because I have done a lot of shopping, and you know, I had to buy a lot of things while I was here that I have to use here and that I don't really intend on bringing back, like a pillow and a blanket. But if I can, I want to bring them home, because obviously it would be wasteful to get rid of them. But anyway, always err on the side of packing light. What is the most valuable thing you've learned so far living in a different country / studying abroad in general. I've just learned that, okay, first of all, being an American is such a privileged position, and speaking English as your native language is such a privilege, because English, like, everybody in the world is trying to learn English. Like, so many people use English as their second language. So to be able to already speak it gives you a pretty good advantage, because in a lot of places that you'll travel, you'll find people who do speak English compared to lesser known or lesser spoken languages. So that's been interesting. But on that same note, I've learned how important it is to be bilingual, or at least know the basics of some other languages. And when you travel, to respect that and actually try to, you know, use at least the most simple words of a language. Overall, I feel like there's so much more to learn, and I feel so much more connected to the world instead of in my little American bubble. So I just can't wait to continue traveling and continue learning about different cultures, different people, different languages, you know, instead of just being my English-speaking American Californian self. Studying abroad definitely opens your eyes to a lot of things, and then this is the kind of experience that you can only get from being in a country for a prolonged amount of time. You know, traveling obviously does similar things, but really being able to live somewhere for at least just a few months is amazing. What was the most uncomfortable part about the experience, socially, educationally, etc.? I love people asking me questions in past tense. I'm like, yo, I'm still studying abroad currently, but I get what you mean. Probably like the first week of classes, because when we first got here, before we started school, it was all joyful. There's this thing that was explained to us, I think that gets explained to most study abroad students, is that your like mood while studying abroad is like a W. So you start off on a high, and then you hit a low when, you know, you get homesick or you realize how difficult things are, whatever, and then it improves, and then you get sad again when you like go home. So right now I'm probably past the low and back up on another high, preparing myself to be devastated when I go back to the States now. So the hardest thing, yeah, was after that first high where you're excited, and then shit gets real and complicated and difficult. So yeah, my first, you know, week or so of classes, just getting acclimated to that was really overwhelming, but nothing has really been horrible. There is a lot of discomfort though, because you're literally out of your comfort zone. So I think it's a good thing. You know, even still, like going to order things and like little daily things that I do, little interactions can make me a little uncomfortable, but that's good, because that's, you know, when I'm growing and pushing myself, you know, all the typical fun stuff. And if anything, now I'm uncomfortable. That's an interesting word to use. I'm uncomfortable thinking about leaving. I don't want to think about going back to the States. I don't want to think about being done here, even though I have over 2 more months. It's just flying by, and the thought of going home makes me so sad already. But you gotta just be present, live one day at a time. I am enjoying today and I'm loving it, and that's all that matters. Next question. Would you do anything differently if you were given the chance? I'm gonna be studying abroad in Dijon, France. That's so awesome. So would I do anything differently or change it? Well, once again, my experience is not over. It's actually far from over, because my classes actually end in less than a month, but then I'm gonna have about a month and a half of just free travel time, which is going to be amazing and busy and crazy. If there's one thing that I wish I could have changed, it would be to have been able to study for a whole year here. That would have been amazing. But, you know, I didn't even consider studying abroad for a year. But of course, now that I'm here, I'm like, I want to stay forever. I wish I could stay for a whole year. So no regrets with that. And yeah, I still have a lot of time, so I don't think there's anything that I would change. That's all. What were you most nervous about when you first started planning your study abroad? Love you. Love you too. I shouldn't sing. I should never sing. I was nervous about the flight. I had never done a flight overseas, so I was nervous about that. And then I was nervous about making friends. And then I was nervous about how much it would cost. So basically everything, because there's so much that you have to consider, and there's so much that you have to prepare for. And I was so nervous about like having the right documents with me, because they gave me this long, crazy list of like copies of things that I needed, like birth certificate, social security, copies of your passport, copies of your IDs and your driver's license, and blah, 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 your health records. And I was like, man, are people gonna like stop me in the street and like request to see my documents? But yeah, I mean, just general like nerves, because building up to leaving, all you have to do is sit there and be excited, but also like get nervous about whatever pops into your head, whatever possible things could happen. So ew, I don't like that. It's making me overwhelmed just thinking about it. It's all good. It's all chilling. Nothing to be nervous about. We're almost done. Are there any certain beauty or whatever products that aren't available in France that you miss like crazy? I can't think of any beauty products. I'm not really a huge beauty product buyer anyway, but there are definitely foods that I've been craving like crazy. Oh my god, iced coffee. Still, you guys, still have not been able to get a proper iced coffee. And like, that's my shit. Like every day in the States, Lana made fun of me for saying the States, but like here everybody says the States. Whatever. Back in the States, I would get nice coffee like every single day. I would just go to Starbucks, get nice coffee. It's soy milk, it's easy. But here, like, there is no ice. Ice is not a thing, really. So the closest thing I've been getting are frappes, but like somehow I can't just get like an iced coffee, like a cold brew. Oh, I've been craving that so badly. Of course, I've still been craving a lot of American foods, like Chipotle, of course. I've mentioned this so many times. Sofritas. I would die for a bowl of sofritas, rice, beans. So simple, so good. And that's like the first thing I'm gonna do when I get back to the States, is eat Chipotle. Last question. Was it difficult or more expensive to maintain a vegan diet while abroad? A lot of people have asked me about this. That was actually in a ton of people's other questions. Veganism while in Europe, veganism in France. Yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy. But also it's not easy in a lot of places in the States either. Unless you're in a city like New York, LA, Portland, I don't know, where they have tons of vegan options, it's really difficult to find like specialty vegetarian or vegan restaurants and stuff. Mostly when I go out, most places offer a veggie burger, and a lot of places offer a potato burger, like a potato patty, which I like. I love potatoes. So that's good. I can always get like something like that. I have been missing like Mexican food. Like I would love, once again, Chipotle, but like just rice, beans, whatever, like that's just one of my favorite meals, and they just don't really have much of it here. In Barcelona, there were tons of vegan friendly places and like vegan specialty places, so that was great. But no, it's really not more expensive. It's just that you have to look around a lot, and obviously when you're reading labels in French, you've got to make sure you know what you're looking for. In terms of like difficulty, it's difficult, but it was difficult in New Orleans. New Orleans was very difficult to be vegan because all the most popular foods are like the opposite. And same with France, like all the most popular dishes are meat and cheese. So it's difficult, and some people would say I'm missing out, but I don't feel like I'm missing out at all because I just don't eat those things anymore. I'm getting close to my 2 years of veganism. That's gonna be in April. I'll make a video on that. But no, long story short, you know, still vegan, still going strong, and it's not too hard, you know, you just gotta commit to it, and I haven't like been deprived, so it's all going well. Thank you guys so much for the questions, and if you stayed for this whole thing, please comment. Honestly, I need a glass of wine after this, because I do, and I bought some wine, so I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, I'm so glad that you guys are interested in hearing about my study abroad experience and studying abroad in general, and if any of you have study abroad experiences or are going to study abroad, tell me about them in the comments below. Once again, make sure you're subscribed, and I'm gonna end the video because my voice actually hurts. Okay, thanks, bye!